Hello guys, welcome to Programming Acts with Rotimi Oladipopo, and this is my CSS tutorial series. And in this episode we are starting with Beginner's Introduction to CSS Part 1, and the lesson structure is as follows: Introduction to CSS, connecting to HTML, selectors, styling, examples. Now, before you carry on with this tutorial, this very episode, make sure that you have watched my beginner's introduction to HTML part 1, because that is going to give you a foundation to what we are going to learn here. But as a refresher, I am going to be revisiting that very tutorial again in this tutorial. So like I said when you want to start, when you want to build a website, you need to create a project folder in your computer system directory, in the file directory. Then after that, you are going to link it to your VS Code. Everything is in the video. Then after linking it, let me be navigating as I am narrating it. So you create a folder. Then after creating that folder in your computer file system, like the folder we created for our HTML file was website project. This is it, and this is my website file, and this is the index.html file. So I'm going to be creating another file as a refresher for this CSS course. So but make sure you watch that tutorial. It is very, very key and important. That's what's going to make you to flow very well with this very tutorial. So with this very CSS tutorial. So now let's go into it. Let's start again. So I said that number one, we are going to create a project folder. So let me go to my computer file system. Let me go to local disk, users, rostream, and here I have a website project here which we used for the HTML project, but I'm going to create a fresh file. This is just as a refresher for you to remember how the process works. So I'm going to click here and click. So it's going to start as a new folder. This is the folder here. I'm going to give it a name, CSS. I'm going to type CSS dash tutorials, right? This. I'm going to click enter. Once I tap enter, I'm going to tap enter. Then this is the folder here, CSS tutorial folder. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to go to my VS Code, minimize like this. In the HTML beginner tutorial, I taught how you are going to download VS Code and install it. So go make sure you reference that video and watch it. Watch it meditatively. So I'm going to open VS Code here. After opening VS Code, then it's going to open with a welcome message like this. Let me close this. It's going to open with a welcome message like this. Let me click close. Expand this place like this. Now excuse me. Now you see, this was the website file that we added in the HTML tutorial, but I'm going to remove it now. Just click it like this and right click like this. After right clicking, go to remove folder from workspace like this. Click it. It is going to be removed from VS Code because I want to start afresh. I want to link the CSS folder as a refresher for you to remember everything that we taught in the HTML beginners part 1 tutorial. So now I'm going to click this file, go to add folder to directory, and navigate to that CSS tutorial folder. So I'm going to click here like this, click users, click rostream like this. Then I'm going to find that folder here. That folder is somewhere here. CSS, let me navigate down. CSS, this is it. Can you see it? This is CSS tutorial. So I'm going to double click to open it. Then I'm going to click this add. Then this VS Code is going to ask me Do you trust the authors of the files in this folder? Just click yes. Then here the CSS file, let me close this. Here the CSS file is going to reflect here. So now if you go to, let me minimize it, if you navigate to, let me close it like this. If you navigate to the project folder and you click local disk, click users, click rostrum, then let's find the CSS tutorials here. It's somewhere around here. This is it down here. You can see it. CSS tutorials. Double click to open it. You will notice that the folder is currently empty. So what I taught in the beginners what I taught in the HTML beginners part 1 was that you go back to your VS Code like this, that's Visual Studio Code. You select this CSS folder and click this first plus icon. Once you click it, this field is going to come out for you to name your file with .html as the extension. Please reference that tutorial. You will understand what I am saying, but I taught it extensively there. So let me just give it CSS code, CSS dash code .html. I still have to write it as HTML. Then tap enter. After you do this, if you navigate back to the CSS file now, the folder, you are going to notice that we now have a CSS dash code .html reflecting there. Let me close it and let's navigate to it again for you to understand. So let me click the local disk, users, rostrum, then CSS tutorials. This is it. Open it. You are going to find that an HTML file or a HTML file is already existing there. This is css-code.html. If you click it and right click and you open it with Chrome, I'm going to open with Chrome, it's going to display here, but it is going to be empty. So let me give it a title. If you reference that the first tutorial, you are going to remember how we give our files a title. So here I am going to press my shift button, the shift button on your pad, then you press 1. This is going to come up, then you tap enter, reference the said beginners into HTML part 1. You are going to understand what I am saying. Then the next thing is that you are going to give title it. Come here and delete this document and give it CSS tutorials like this. Then please click Ctrl S to save. You will navigate back to the browser like this. Now I'm back at the browser, and in this tab you can see that currently what we have is css-code.html. If you click this reload button, you are now going to have a new title, CSS tutorials here. This is how websites are titled. So anytime when next you visit a website, check the tab here. You are going to see the title of the website. Now let me now start with the lesson structure. This is the lesson structure. So this is our browse. This is the tab that we are using to test our program now, but this is our lesson structure here. So we are starting with introduction. So introduction to CSS. What is CSS? CSS is cascading style sheet. What is cascading style sheet? CSS is the program that we use to style our HTML files. Now HTML is Hypertext markup language. It's just a markup language. HTML is used to type all the documents that we display, like the heading, like the paragraph, a host of other things that we are going to be learning subsequently in our HTML tutorial. However, CSS is what we use to give it design, like the styling, the colors and all of that. Think of HTML as a brick used in erecting a building, while CSS is the aspect of decorating and styling the interiors. So now let me go to my project structure. Let me click this tab here like this. Now you see all these colors that you see here, this black background, this light sky, this very background here, this color, this orange color, everything is made possible through CSS, and we are going to be testing it now. So let me move away from this tab and go to our project tab. This is our project tab. Now if you remember that in the HTML tutorial I said that HTML files are divided into two sections. We have the head section like this. We start from this head on line 3 to end on this head on line 7. Now the difference between this head and this head is that this very head has a backslash sign inside of it. So now just watch the HTML file so that I won't be repeating. Let me just focus on the project of today. And I said that if you want to add text in your HTML file, you will use, if it is a heading, you will use what we call, and if it's a heading and it is the most important heading in the document, you will use a tag that we know as h1, a tag known as h1. Then once you type h1 like this, just press enter. Once you press enter, you can press enter again so that the code can be more readable. Then you give it a title. So let me say the title is down. Let me type cascading style sheet tutorials like this. Then let me click Ctrl Save. Let me go to the browser, then refresh like this. We are going to find cascading style sheet tutorials displaying here. Can you see? Now let's go back and add a paragraph. Remember that how I taught you to add a paragraph in the HTML tutorial. You come to this closing h1 tag. Make sure your cursor is blinking at the last, the greater than sign, in front of the greater than sign. Just click it to make sure that okay, the cursor is blinking there. Then tap enter. After typing enter, to write a paragraph, you will use a tag we know as p tag, paragraph tag. Once you type p like this, because we are using VS Code, all you need to just do is to tap enter, and VS Code is going to pre-format it for us. And that is why you can have the two p's, the open tag p, paragraph tag, and the close tag, the closing paragraph tag. Can you see? So now to make it more readable again, let me tap enter like this. Let me type this CSS file. Let me just make it short like that. Click Ctrl S, go back to your browser like this, and click refresh. You are going to find that the paragraph has display. Now if you go to our tutorial structure, you are going to notice that we have different colors. The reason why these colors are here is because of how the CSS styling that is powering this very project. Now let's not go and replicate it in our program. So now come to your code like this. In the HTML, I said this is the head section and this is the body section. The body section is starting from this line 8 to end on this line 15 with this body closing tag. Now in this head section, this line number 6, before the closing head tag, just come and click the last character after title. Click it like this. After clicking it like that, press enter. Then type style like this. Type style. After typing style, because you are using VS Code, all you need to just do is press enter. Then VS Code is going to pre-format it for us, and you are going to notice that we have two styles written. The first one is style, the second one is style. Now the difference is that the second style has a / sign inside of it. So the first style is the open style tag, and the second style is close style tag. Now press enter again. After pressing enter, it is going to format like this to make your code readable. Now go back to your browser like this, and let's go to the training structure. Now you can see connecting to HTML. Now what do you mean connecting to HTML? You see, connecting to HTML, connecting CSS to HTML is writing HTML code and making sure that it is reflecting in, writing CSS files and making sure that it is reflecting in your HTML files. Now there are 3 ways to connect your CSS files with HTML, but in today's tutorial, because this is the first tutorial, I am going to just be using one of the methods. We have 3 methods, but I'm going to be using one of the methods. In the next video, I'm going to be using the other 2 methods. And the first method is that in this head section, before this closing head tag, type style like I said, and make sure that press enter to make sure that this style is up here, this style is down. This is the open tag style and this is the close tag style. Now the next thing we are going to learn in the CSS structure is selectors. What is selectors? Now go back here. You know that this cascading style sheet is displayed here because we use h1 heading tag, and this is the text that we wrote into that h1 heading tag, and this is the paragraph tag, and this is the text that we wrote into the paragraph tag. Now let's go into it. This is it in the body section, h1 and paragraph tag. Now what this selector actually means now is that these selectors, what it means is that for you to style this, like change the color, you have to select the tag in the CSS. Let's go back to our code. This style is a CSS file. Do you understand my point? This file represents a CSS file. So you come in between it like this. You see, between this open tag style and this close tag style is where you are going to write your CSS code. But to write your CSS code, the first thing you must do is to reference each of these tags. For instance, this is an h1 tag and this is a paragraph tag. So let's say you want to now change the color of the h1 tag. You want the color to change from black. You can see that this cascading style sheet is currently black. Let's say you want to change it to red, or want to change it to green, or want to change it to purple. You go back to your code like this. Then you select it. Just type h1 like this. That is the selection. So you have selected h1 of the HTML code in your CSS file. After you have now done that, you hold down your shift button on your keypad and press the open curly braces. When you press the open curly braces, the close curly braces is also going to reflect. Then you press enter like this. Remember how we did it? We selected h1 tag. You see this h1 we selected now is now referencing this very h1. Then we held down our shift button and then click the open tag, bracket, open curly braces bracket. Then we press enter like this. Then the next thing you are going to type is you are going to type color. When you type color, you are going to now input colon. After inputting colon, just type the name of any color that you want. For instance, I want to change it to red. Once I type red, end it with semicolon. After ending it with semicolon, press Ctrl S to save, or go to File to save like this, and go to your browser and click refresh. You are going to now see that the color will change to red. Can you see? If you go back to your code, let's say you now you delete it like this and change the color to green like this, then end it with a semicolon and press Ctrl S to save. Go back to your code, then click refresh. You are going to see that the color is going to change to green. Now let's now say we want to now change the color of the paragraph. This is the paragraph. This is the CSS paragraph. All you just need to come here, then come to another line here. How do you come to another line? Just come and click just come and click in front of these closing curly braces and press enter. Then you now type P again. Typing P here means that you have selected the P tag from HTML file. Can you see? Then you are going to now hold down your shift button, then click the open curly braces. The closing curly braces is also going to open, all thanks to VS Code preformatting. Then press enter like this. Then type color, depending on the color that you want. Type color like this. Let's say I want color like this. Then add colon, then type blue. Let me type blue like this. Then end it with a semicolon. Go to your browser, click refresh. You are going to see that your CSS file is going to change to, your paragraph is going to change to blue. Now that is one aspect. The other aspect is that if you want to change the size of your text, maybe you want to change the heading size, you want to change the paragraph size, it is also the CSS that you are going to make use of. It is the CSS. How do you do that? You just come to your code like this. Then in this H1 tag that we selected here, after this color, just click it like this after the semicolon and make sure it is blinking in front of the green text and semicolon. Make sure that your cursor is blinking after it and press enter like this. When you press enter, you now type font size. By font size, by the time you type font size, VS Code is going to bring the complete text for you. Once you select it, you will now select. Once you select it, just type the size that you want. Let's say for instance I want it to be 60 like this. Now sizes in programming or HTML has different units. We have px, which is pixel. We have vw or vm, which is viewport or view height. We have rem, we have m, we have percentage. Do you understand my point? But in this very tutorial, I'm going to be using px first. Then in subsequent tutorials, I'm going to be explaining all the other units to you. So after you type cc here, just put px like this. Then click Ctrl S to save. Then go to your browser, your testing tab, and click refresh. You are going to see that it is now going to become very big. The heading is going to become very big. Now let's say you want to now increase the paragraph size again. Just go to your code again. Then come to this blue line, click in front of the semicolon, press enter and type font size again. Once you type font size, CSS VS Code is going to bring the complete option. Come and select it by clicking this font size. Let's type 30 px. Once you type 30 px, X for zebra. Once you type it like this, click Ctrl Save, go to your browser and refresh. You are going to see that it is going to become big. You can see that it is big. If you want it to be bigger, just come to the code like this and type, let's say 50. After typing 50, press Ctrl Save, go back to your browser. After going back to your browser, refresh. You can see that it is now very big. So this is one method of adding CSS file to HTML. I'm going to be teaching the other two methods in our next tutorial. Now let's go to our training structure. Okay, so what we now have is styling. So we have done styling now. We have done selection. We have done styling by giving it colors and all of that. So let's practice some other examples. So let's go back to our code. Let's go back to our code. In this HTML file, let me type h2 heading tag 2. So let me now type inside. This is heading type 2. Click Ctrl S to save. Then go back to your browser. Click refresh like this. No, this is our project structure. Go to the testing tab. Click refresh like this. You are going to see heading 2 here. This is heading type 2. But you are going to see that the color is black. Now, if you go back to your code like this and come in between this style again in the heading part of the page, and click the last curly braces of the p tag and press enter to come to the next line, and you now select let's check the tag in the HTML file. The tag is h2. Let me format it for readability. You can see, so the tag is h2. Come to the CSS like this and then type h2 here like this. Let me shift it forward. Type h2 like this. After typing h2, let me small letter, code is written in small letter. Type h2 like this. After typing the h2, to hold down your shift button, open curly braces. VS Code is going to format the other curly brace, the closing curly brace. Press enter. Then type color. Type color, then add colon, then type any color. Let me just type color. Let me type purple like this. Click a semicolon, go back to your browser and then refresh. You can see that the color has changed to purple. So this is where I am going to stop the tutorial today, because this is the first lesson and I want to make it as simple as possible. Try to practice it in conjunction with the HTML introduction to part 1. Practice it together. It is self-explanatory, it is easy. I am using beginner-friendly teaching techniques and you are going to understand it. All you need to just do is to rewatch the video, watch it over and over and over again, and you are going to grasp everything that I just taught here, and it is going to make it easier for us as we progress in our tutorial journey. So see you in the next class. Thank you. Bye.